know that how difficult it is to predict this game. I think everyone will find it very difficult to predict this game. So there it is. Purge with complexity, Winter with wings, and Black also with wings. Hopefully we can get the social media votes up as well and find out what the community think, both from Twitch and Twitter fairly shortly. The players are in the box. They are in their booths right now getting ready for the draft. In fact, I can see we have a couple of bans, so we'll just go very quickly through these. So Twitch are going 60-40 in favour of wings. That seems pretty reasonable to me.
It's a best of one. Like,
yeah.
And, you know, one weird pick,
and
one
Twitch
weird gank.
53-47. So it is very quick, very close between both the community and here on the panel. Draft is underway. We do have 3 bans, so let's drop you into that right now. There's a Darkseer ban and there's a Bristle, and not really unexpectedly, there's a Beastmaster. What are you expecting, Black? Are we expecting some cheese, or do you think they really will go the standard route that Winter pointed out?
I think wings will go standard, and I'm really happy they did the homework, because coL used to run Bristol back a lot. They're a Bristol IO team, just like MVP is, and I'm really happy they... Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the way, they are first pick and Dire on wings, so someone must have chosen second.
I think Complexity chose Radiant.
They chose Radiant.
They were doing that in the groups as well.
Oh, I see. Alright. So that's really quick.
Oh, hello.
I mean,
Lone Druid Oracle.
if you got a best of one, you pick out something interesting, and this could be it.
I mean, I remember one of the cheese that they did in Epicenter, the Wyvern and the X jungling. I don't know if you remember the game, Paul, but they did like this dual jungle, and they got like a 9-minute Vanguard and Blink.
Yep. Now I'm surprised. I wanted to throw in there before we even got to the draft. I wonder if we'll see the Huskar ban, right? But what's the point now?
Oracle works with a few heroes, like DP is great with Oracle.
But could it be banned? Why wouldn't they pick DP right there?
I'm not sure though, because they wanted to open a draft with Lone Druid, and you want to go with a support, right? You don't want to go Lone Druid plus a core.
Yeah, but Oracle is like a hero that won't get banned. Like, it has
so they have a strat.
Leave and they probably won't figure it out.
They want to do something specific, and we'll see about that. And then the Alchemist is a direct response to the push.
I remember one of the games they had Oracle plus Lash in one of their group games, and the Lash was like level 6 at 6 minutes on a support Lash.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
What's up, Paul?
The bans. Why would you?
Well, I mean, A is gone, right? So if they have IO plus another defensive hero, then they're never killing out. Especially Lone Druid has some trouble guaranteeing kills on heroes.
Okay.
Even if he gets a root, it's sometimes not reliable enough.
Especially if Alchemist goes to Radiance build, that really decreases the DPS of the Lone Druid, and you just won't have enough damage to kill him.
They gotta make sure Alk dies. That's the most important thing now.
I mean, at this rate, both teams are trying to do some strategy, so there won't be any normal game. So it's either Wings tries to cheese and they lose because they fail that cheese.
This is where Winter tries to back out of his prediction right now.
Winter,
It's not coming back
No
off,
backing
Winter.
out, man. Wings got this.
Ride and die with Black on the prediction.
Okay.
I hope coL bans Veno though, because Wings, whenever they pick Alchemist, they really like picking that Veno.
I'm not a huge fan of Veno anymore.
The safe lane
core
Veno.
Veno,
The safe lane Veno, yeah.
That was the first game they played. They picked that of their group stage, and they got really beat.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
I feel like that strat's a month old. It doesn't work as well. That strat worked really well then because everybody's playstyle was smoke gank the safe lane, and because Veno was there, nothing happened. So teams are like, okay, they've got safe lane Veno, he's just gonna camp there with wards, we'll just go other places.
Yeah, even if you get to kill him, you're all gonna go back to Fountain and heal, because the wards are just gonna whittle you down.
I'm just not that worried about that. I really like the Weaver ban because coL 5-man so often that Wings can easily keep a Weaver somewhere else, split pushing, farming.
I think the other reason of the Weaver ban is Weaver is really good versus Lone Druid because you have the bugs on the bear, on the summon. And I know Bulldog says that when he plays Lone Druid, Weaver is one of the few heroes that he doesn't want to play against when he's on Lone Druid.
Makes a lot of sense. The Axe ban? Complexity have played a lot of
They
Axe.
like Axe, yeah.
There's a couple of pocket strats they had at Epicenter.
Using it. The Wyvern X was my favorite, honestly, Paul. That was that blew my mind when I saw them doing that.
I've never seen that before. Yeah, that was amazing.
And they were stacking Ancients with their
the
supporters
Mirana, offlane Mirana, and the X was like, oh, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Ancients for me.
There's double stacks.
So it's the DP Oracle.
DP Oracle is a very standard combo. Very common combo, and it's a very strong combo too.
Is this weird that it wasn't banned though? Because DP is pretty good versus Alk. Obviously it's going to be a dual lane, so might be a little scary for DP, but... like, I mean, Axe is their hero. I guess A's more crucial, stops Elk regen. Like, Wings draft is very likely going to be all about the Elk.
At the same time, the A is good for dealing with the DP and the Oracle. So
I mean, the AA ban is reasonable, but I just don't know why Axe, because Axe isn't really particularly good against either of IO or Alchemist. So maybe they're planning to pick more core melees, but
are they worried of a cheese that X, like any draft that with
Winter?
X? I don't know.
Well, right now they basically, coL has 2 cores that Oracle's happy to ult. Very, very happy to do that.
Yeah.
They have 2 cores that do potentially a lot of damage, and Alchemist is going to be doing Radiance Burn and potentially killing supports, so I think they need some heroes that are going to stop Alchemist from running at them.
It's going to be a long game though. I think both teams will have very, very farm intensive cores at this rate. DP, Lone Druid, Alchemist, and especially you have an Alchemist draft, you're going to have 4 heroes that can benefit from the Aghanim's buff. And you're just going to go late game.
I mean, especially if you're in a best of 1, you want to make sure
You have the late game.
that you have to like exactly, because you will be really careful of what you're doing, and you don't want to feel like you're rushed, that you're rushed to finish the game, because that leads to a lot of mistakes.
I feel like coL has a drafting advantage right now though, just because they can do a safe lane 1v1 no problem. Like Wings, you know what they're doing. The IO is going to mostly be mid. He may gank some other lanes, but an IO gank's not that strong. Oracle's pretty strong tri-lane hero.
Yeah.
They could aggressively tri-lane, they could do a dual support roam while still leaving Lone Druid fairly independent. Like, Wings has to adjust basically not only to style, but also just to the different things that coL might do.
It's just DP mid is a pretty weak and gankable hero. Well, not weak, but he's pretty easily
Well, if
ganked.
you want to gank, you need 1 point in the stun from Elk, which
Right,
is very rare nowadays.
Yeah, but if the Wiz really plans to hang out around middle, then they have to protect TP for sure.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to have a Nyx from Wings and
pretty
an Earth Spirit from Complexity.
Nyx sets up the IO relocates,
Yeah.
and what Earth Spirit in trade for that? I'm not so sold
Good
on.
Aghanims, carrier as well. So they're still going down that route,
Okay.
but Complexity have a very, very standard lineup right now. Except for the Oracle, which is not so common. Earth Spirit DP, you crush the mid lane. You basically crush the mid lane.
Yeah,
If you
really
get a
easily.
gank, yeah, very easy to gank.
But the Wiz can help him like, quite a lot. Or it's Wiz Tiny instead.
That was a good pick. Like,
What are the lane?
Oh,
Safe lane Tiny?
Yeah, well, it's offlane Nyx for sure.
No, they did the butterfly rush on Tiny and Alchemist
I will give
built
him the Aghanim,
give him the
yeah.
egg, so he had like some 15, 16 minutes.
First item Aghanims, and he gave it to.
The-
Was it
the
the
Tiny-
first item?
No, he had an armlet and then he went for egg.
And then he gave it to Tiny right
Yeah, he
away,
gave it
and
to
Tiny
Tiny.
rushed Butterfly.
Yeah.
And then the Tiny was just unstoppable, and they just won.
it's pretty good. Gives you evasion against the spirits, against Lone Druid.
Well, we spoke about cheese though, right? Like,
That's
here we
pretty.
go.
That's like the most straightforward cheese strat I feel like you can do.
But it's already like everyone already knows this. Like they've done this before. Do you still consider it a
Yeah,
cheese?
but to bring it out in a best of 1 elimination game, it's like
And they can still potentially deal with them. I mean, with Earth Spirit,
can,
their
they
team
can.
fight's really good.
they can kite him really easily.
Their
with
early
those
game
heroes.
is weak
Yeah.
though. Like Earth Spirit can cause so much problems for Wings right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it that they had a lot of late game right now. They have a lot of late game. They want to secure the late game, but
They do.
early game is going to be a problem for them.
It's gonna be with Tiny safe lane, right? They run that safe lane usually, and then Alchemist middle.
But then Elk's gonna get wrecked by Earth Spirit. I guess it depends on what the other sport is. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can run Alchemist safe lane. It's just not so common.
I would actually like coL to run the safe lane Druid and pick another offlaner, because safe lane Druid is really, really good against Nyx, in case the supports have to move away. And
Yeah, it's definitely going to be safe lane right? Because Swindles doesn't play Lone Druid.
Yeah.
oh,
Swindles-
true.
Yeah, he doesn't play Lone Druid. It's always chassis.
I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about something like a Faceless Void? I think it goes really well with DP and Oracle as well.
Yeah,
While
that's
the Lone Druid can keep the supports out from the backlines.
It's a very good
Yeah.
combo.
If they just like chrono IO +1 or something, then
Yeah.
DP Lone Druid should be able to survive the fight with Oracle on the backline and do enough damage.
Right.
Seems like a very straightforward pick for Complexity to round up their lineup with the Void. For Wings, they need more. I think they need more early game. They need more early game though for Wings. Otherwise, the early game might be very difficult for them.
They need really early game oriented support. But what is there left in the pool?
The only problem with the Void though for coL is that it's also weak early. They need a hero that's going to round out a 4-man lineup: Earth Spirit, Oracle, DP, and offlane. That way, Lone Druid can solo safe lane or farm.
That's actually exactly what you said. I really like this Tidehunter ban, because Tidehunter is very, very strong early on, and with a
5-man.
with the Earth Spirit Roam as well, they can put a lot of pressure on the safe lane.
It's like the Ravage plus DPLT will be
Yeah.
very difficult to deal with. And Wings, you don't want that to happen. You don't want the tempo of a call to be too quick for you to handle, because you're playing late game.
And Tidehunter late game against Tiny.
Ooh.
Oh, that's like something that we didn't see for a long time. It's really good with Alchemist. You know, in the past, teams always pick Alchemist plus Undying because there's going to be this point where Alchemist is doing his stacks and Undying is the perfect support hero to defend the stacks with Tombstone. So that's the synergy, and then you have the Aghanims upgrade for Undying.
I mean, coL doesn't even have very good stack clears yet anyway, so I wouldn't be too worried about
Tiny,
this.
I mean, if he's getting the Aghanims buff from the Alchemist.
Well, it's gonna be a position 5 IO most likely.
I mean, that's basically one of the best team fight supports right there is Undying.
But they'll have dual lanes, like Undying plus Nyx dual lane, and if Oracle is not at bottom, if it's a Lone Druid Soul, it'll be difficult.
Offlane Enigma.
Wait, offlane Enigma.
They've done this before. Not too weird.
It's very good versus the relocate though.
And it's going to slow down Tiny's butterfly too.
And as we said, like this really secures the late game because they can't cancel it at all if he gets a BKB. If he gets BKB refresher like ever, there's no way coL will lose the team fight in the late game.
Okay. Thank you very much to all three of you. We'll hear more from all three of our panelists at the end of the game. It is a best of one. It's do or die in the lower bracket as we go over to our commentary team for this one. So,
hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into our first elimination game of the Manila Major. We are here with Wings Gaming versus Complexity. My name is Mont, with me is Waga. We just saw an Undying pick.
Yeah, I think that's the first one of the tournament, I believe, and I'm really excited for it. It's a good pick. We'll see if they can create space for the Alchemist with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of room to be made here for Wings Gaming. We are going to jump in the game right now and get underway with our first elimination game of the tournament.
Yeah.
So, Waga, we talked about the start of the draft, and we saw the IO and the Alchemist start for Wings Gaming. We were a little concerned for Complexity at that point. I think that's a really good, strong opening. Wings not a team that generally picks IO, but in this game, this could be huge for them.
It really could, and it's a strong combination having the Aghanim's possibility of pulling that onto a Tiny. He can go for so much DPS items, and we see Wings with the early smoke movement here, but at the same time, Complexity already got their defensive ward down.
Yeah, so they will smoke through. They won't be spotted out by that Observer Ward, but it looks like they want to put some pressure, or at least get into the enemy jungle, maybe drop a ward or two down. They might actually find the Still Bear. The bear will be scouted out, but nothing else. The smoke will not break. Wings will stay behind and wait for that smoke to
runs
pop.
out, so they're just going to deal some damage to the bear. But they're going to go try and 5-man control the rune for the Alchemists. Nothing should be happening here, as you don't really contest an Undying on the rune. Like, it's just too risky.
Yeah, I mean, Decay, Tombstone, just the amount of damage you can bump out is actually ridiculous, so...
Can always try with the Spirit Bear if he wants to attempt to steal, but he's not going to go for it.
How annoying that would be for Blink.
Or, he's a little bit late with the bear.
Yeah, he's not going to get there in time. Blink will be able to pick up the rune, and Lip will get the top rune as well. So, for now, the Alchemist is going to run right over towards mid. He's going to have the IO, I think, helping him out to begin with. We should see a deny from Complexity and Swindle Melons in the mid lane, so that, of course, there is that one less creep coming out for the Death Prophet for Limp.
Yeah, very nice pick, the Enigma, into this, because they're so short range on Wings, all of them. They have 4 melee hero, and then they have Wisp on top of that. And it's going to be a very good hero to deal damage onto the Wisp so he cannot heal. The Midnight Pulse going down, it's going to do a lot of work here.
And I think Black made a good point, too, as well. If he gets a BKB, he's going to have grid. Obviously, Black Hole is doing a lot of damage coming out. So, Limp already going and being aggressive with the Spirit Siphon, pumping out some early damage here. He's asserting his dominance, the best thing you could do against an Alchemist early on here. And he's just punishing him. He says, screw last hits right now, I am going to work on you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Just aggressive play, that's what they need to do. Obviously, the Alchemist not too scared because Set Freak has been revealed on bottom lane. So their Spirit not going to be aiming towards the mid lane immediately.
So this is what we're talking about. I think the silences for Complexity are very crucial, especially from relocate ganks from Wings. Like, you drop your silence down whether you're the Death Prophet or you get off your Geomagnetic Grip if you're the Earth Spirit, but I think if you get off a good silence, maybe Rolling Boulder, you're in a good position for Complexity.
They could be, for sure, but at the same time, you also have the risk of Nyx, for example, going in and initiating. If he ever gets on top of Oracle, that's a great pick for him.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting things that could happen to initiate the fights.
Dave Beyond playing the farming assassin for right now down in that bottom lane. You can see the Undying, throws out the Decay, gets a double stack so he can just start running at people if he wants. That's a bit frustrating.
And the lane is already doing what they wanted to do. When they pick Undying and Nyx, it's just heroes that are going to create space for mid and for off lane, or for their safe lane. So you can't really leave the Lone Druid alone down here. It's not going to work. The stun, the Tombstone, he would just get dove.
I will say he's farming very well right now. He has 10 last hits. You look at mid, you look at the Alchemist, he's got 2 currently. So both mid and bottom are going very well for Complexity right now. Top, obviously, the Tiny's going to get farm, he's going to get CS. That's fine. Complexity are not really concerned about that with the off-lane Enigma.
I think Swindles can do really well on this lane. I mean, there's not much support coming in for the Tiny. He is last hitting well with his high damage, but getting denies on range creeps, and he has Eidolons available. I think lanes are working out quite well for Complexity.
Yeah.
The only thing being that they're not really shutting down the Alchemist that much.
He will still find his farm.
Limp played really good on laning phase, so he kept him away. He's only got 3 CS right now.
Yeah, so I think the Alchemist, regardless, he'll get stacks in the jungle, probably from his Isle. He'll be able to find farm regardless of what happens mid. Z-Freak is going to be scouted by an illusion. I think he was trying to set up for a rolling boulder. He still may go for it inevitably, but for right now, he'll just back up and sit on his side of the river.
I think he should just hang around for a while, even if the gank is not successful. Blink cannot walk close, and this Alchemist is suffering right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. He hasn't been able to walk up because of Spirit Siphon, and now you have a threat of an Earth Spirit, which is not great either. So for Blink, obviously not having the best start, 3 last hits, he will still find that farm probably, but for now, he's going to have to sit back and be careful. But there is going to be that rotation from the Earth Spirit down to bottom. Z-Freak.
Not the easiest lane to gank though. Spirit Bear not going to do anything until you have level 5 at least here.
You need that entangle. Fortune's End will be good, obviously, but with Spike Carapace, with how tanky you are as an Undying, it's very difficult, especially with the wave pushed out as it is right now. So Chessie's just going to focus on getting his CS, get maybe that early Midas into Radiance, just classic stuff. And for now, it's just a lot of farming.
And Hanskin, they didn't really get the D ward on their creep camp, but now finally the sentry is dead from Wings, so next time it's gonna spawn and they'll be having the pull at their service.
So Swindles is actually doing, I mean, we talked about it earlier already, but he has 13 last hits, 11 denies coming out as well, and he's actually only 2 CS behind the Tiny. He's now rotated to the hard jungle camp on that left side towards that top lane. Meanwhile, top rune spot, Blink's going to come in, and they do have, obviously, Innocence there with the IO tether. Limp will get it spirited up, and now they also have rotation from the Undying to drop down the Decay and do some damage and push him back, make sure they don't get that rune for Limp, that top rune spot.
Yeah, and it was a regen rune that immediately got broken, so Blink didn't really get anything out of that either. And Boundary Rune, of course, taking bottom. Poor Swindle, he got his Clarity cancel on top, but he has Soul Ring now, so he can keep laning here quite effectively.
He's level 4. At what point do you rotate and do you look for a gank for an Enigma?
I think he should stay on lane for a long time, actually. The lanes are working out really well. Look at the last hits, 24, 23, 15. If Complexity can extend the laning phase, keep playing towards this advantage, that's going to be good for them. And also, the pull now being available, their supports can start getting something. The downside, of course, would be if Alchemist farm stacks, but Zed Freak is out there. He scouted it now.
He has scouted out 2 stacks, one at the hard camp, one at the medium camp.
And he found the third as well, so he knows they're prepared.
I think for Complexity, you probably just smoke up and go for an engagement or a fight if you want at some point in time, just to make sure you can contest those stacks. That is a critical part of Alchemist's farm, I think.
When you have enough levels in Crypt Swarm to go out and farm there, you should do it. But until then, just keep playing, because the Alchemist is not really gonna go for stacks yet.
So Complexity have a fast start, but we haven't really talked about Wings. We've talked about the fact that the Alch will get his farm eventually. The Tiny's doing well. He's at 25 last hits. You talked about what you thought was going to happen. The Alchemist was going to give him the Aghanim Scepter and go for a different item on the Tiny.
Exactly. If you have Alchemist in your team, then he could work just as the Aghanim's giver to Tiny. But I don't like if he does it early in a game where he's getting no farm. If you have 9 CS minute 5:30, you can't do this. So the strat is something you have to be a little bit more flexible with, not just set in stone.
And there's so many different builds for Alchemist as well. I'm curious as to see what items he will purchase in the coming minutes here.
Yeah, he's got to complete the Soul Ring, I think, just so he can keep spamming a lot, rely on Acid Spray and just farm up. He is going to go for it. And then, I don't know, I like to see just a few DPS items. Armlet is super great in the current patch. He's going to get a Boundary Rune top, so he'll be happy.
Get some extra gold. If Beyond's going to rotate bottom rune, see that it's not there. It was already picked up, I think, by the Earth Spirit, who has rotated with an Invis rune. That is a perfect rune for him to get this kill on Undying. Remember, this is an Undying. Ice pretty tanky to get some decays off, and he has the Soul Rip at level 1 as well.
He's only level 2 though, so he's not going to be that hard to bring down if they get the roll, but
that's the thing.
It's taking some time.
Z-Freak doesn't want to walk into that true sight range of the tower. It's very close, but he decides he's going to wrap around instead. He might actually find him on the other side of other side of the tower. So Ice is going to be scouted out by Z-Freak. He'll just follow him for now. You can see already
There
rotating
should be a
over.
dive.
Limp is thinking about it. He's got his Spirit Siphon. He's got his Crypt Swarm ready. So Ice needs to be very careful with his positioning here.
Yeah, he's hanging far back, so they can't really go for this. And he's getting the experience. He's got a full level already from just being mid for a short while. So he's doing just fine. And I would like to see Complexity just try and get one big ulti pop, like use the Exorcism early here. You have the Lone Druid in your team, you have Enigma, just going for an early tower. I don't think Wings can defend it too well.
Treat it like a DK, pop the Exorcism early, start pushing down towers, or at least do some damage to the tower.
Exactly.
You don't necessarily need to get kills with it, you don't necessarily need to push the tower down completely, but at least put pressure on Wings, force them to rotate.
Oh, actually Wisp is suiciding. He bought items before,
Yeah,
so
his bottle, of course, going. Meanwhile, there's the rolling boulder. Shadow's going to be caught. They have, of course, the Malefice. They're going to use it. Black hole, but it gets canceled by the Avalanche. They get off the boulder smash, but Shadow was ready for the Black Hole, and Complexity come up short in that gank.
Oh, that really hurts. Black Hole, not gonna get anything off that 200-second cooldown.
I thought they were going to start with the Malefice first, wait for the Avalanche, but Shadow just cancels the Black Hole. That is a super long cooldown, as you have mentioned, so Complexity just have to go back to the drawing board with Swindles.
Even if you lead with the Malefice, you're not gonna be able to Malefice immediately Black Hole before he stuns, because it's just 0 for 25-second stun.
It was the right play for sure from Complexity, but unfortunately it doesn't work out for them, so nice play from Shadow. Now they're going to go in, they're probably going to get the first blood here on Swindles. They get the Toss Avalanche combo, the Io comes in to help out as well with the Spirits. Nicely done from Shadow.
Yeah, Swindle's having a hard time right now. He needs to just regroup, because he had a very good laning phase in terms of denies, CS. He just needs to calm down after that top engagement.
Z-Freak was still up there ready to help out, but unfortunately was not in a position to do so. Limp will pop up. The Spirit Siphon do some right clicks, but here comes the Invis Vendetta. Nyx Assassin and Pale will hit. Now the Undying uses the Decay and the Soul Orb going to work. Now Limp pops up another Spirit Siphon.
Oh, tanky.
They have that Nyx Assassin with the Spike Carapace stopping Limp in his tracks, but here comes Hanskin, gets off the Fate's Edict. That should be the end of the engagement. Cryptstorm will do damage. Fortune's End, will they go up to the high ground? They should have Purifying Flames. Good Impale onto Limp again, but he's got another Spirit Siphon, another Cryptstorm to get the kill. Purifying Flames won't be enough. The Tombstone is dropped down, and that is it. Z-Freak will rotate in towards that top area, but that's going to be the end of the engagement.
And that was a lot of Spirit Siphons used as well, so going on cooldown here, he had all his 4 charges when the fight started, but silently this Shadow Tiny just pushing onto tower. Meanwhile bottom, same thing.
Yeah, Chessie is going to put some pressure, also give Faith Beyond a right click, but Shadow is going to work on that tier 1. They'll be able to push this a bit faster, I think, for Complexity, but they've started out at a better point for Wings. See if either of these teams get these tier 1 towers.
We also saw just how dangerous the Wisp Tiny can be on that top fight, just bringing in Tiny really quick with the tether. And it's gonna be a tower for Complexity at least.
Z-Freak will use the Boulder Smash Chop. Shadow is going to take some time. And even Complexity are going to push further. They have the Enigma here. They want to put some pressure on the tier 2. They say, if you want to take the tier 1, then we'll try to get some tower damage done on this tier 2 down bottom. You can see already they won't put any further pressure with Shadow on that tier 1 top lane.
Yeah, I really like this play. They are backing up now. Eventually they have to respect Wings have some strong fighting lineup, but probably just because the Wisp was level 6, they get a little bit scared of the Wisp relocate, and he's gonna bottle up, so he actually has mana for it now.
Yeah, the relocate gank is coming for Wings. They also have the top net worth now in Alchemist. Like I talked about, he is going to find his farm. He is top in net worth. He already has his armlet. That's just how it goes when you don't contest his stacks. Even with the poor start that he had in that mid lane, it's still completely fine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've seen some terrible Alchemist early games, and then he just recovers on the bounty runes, so you can definitely, you can never count him out.
Greevil's good ability.
Yeah.
Pretty strong stuff. Jesse still, though, he has his Midas, so he's actually doing well. I think he's 1,500 gold on top of that, too. So he has had a great start. Obviously not quite the GPM of the Alchemist after getting those Greevel Greed stacks, but he's still finding a pretty good amount of room for himself, and then he could transition that into the Radiance later on down the road.
And that's without him even getting the tower last hit. Tower went to Enigma when they pushed bottom, so yeah, he's doing a good job. Very high CS right now on this Lone Druid.
It looks like they're going to do what you talked about. Pop the Exorcism, get the Lone Druid on the tower, and push. They are not going to let this out farm out of control, or the Tiny for that matter, and Wings are going to have to rotate a couple. They'll throw the Acid Spray down, obviously with the Demolish the Bear doing a lot of work.
And they now have a chance to go top as well. Oh, they're diving
They
in
are
though.
diving. Spirit Siphon coming out. Great boulder smash. They're going to get the fortune set onto 2. Cryptstorm Exorcism going to work. Limp gets false promise up. Great tether. Armlet Toggle coming out. They get off the impale as well. They will take down the tower for Jesse. But yeah, the Alchemist Chemical Rage is going to work. Blink still alive, but barely. The Exorcism will finally bring him down. They get the eye on top of it, but they have the Tombstone going to work with Ice popping up the obviously ultimate from the Undying. They get off a great silence coming through, and Faith Beyond as well as the Undying will trying to chase further, and they get Shadow up there with the Toss Avalanche combo. The Magnetize comes out, the Impale as well. They'll turn 3, and so actually not that great of a fight for Complexity, all things considered. Wings turned it around, and they get a double kill for Shadow in the end.
It was very aggressive to go into that, knowing that they can't have Enigma. He's going for a top push though, but now he has to be careful, because they can just TP in, all of them backing off. He doesn't really know when they're gonna strike. But that was a deep tower dive. I expected Complexity to take the tier 1 tower mid and then TP top to defend their own tier 1 and push there, but they lose their tower top.
They were a bit aggressive.
Deny it, though.
They did kill Blink, but they also lose Chessie in the process. They get the tier 1 tower mid, which is okay for Complexity, but for Wings, I mean, you had Shadow involved in that engagement. He gets off now a Blink Dagger that he has up ready to go.
Oh yeah, he had the Blink Dagger and it was a really big thing for him, just being able to catch more people. And Shadow is an aggressive carry. He loves to just join in. The way he plays, to me it resembles a lot CDEC at TI5. He always joins his team early on.
And with a tiny IO combination, that's going to be even more so in this particular game. Limp will pick up his Veil of Discord with Spirit Siphon being magical now, Cryptstorm as well. This is the more common build, and you might not have seen it if you haven't watched a lot of Death Prophet recently, but this has been the item of choice for a lot of DPs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's ultra tanky. When he has Veil for armor and Infused Raindrops to block a little bit of magic damage, this is a hard to kill Death Prophet. Especially when Death Prophet can benefit from the False Promise so much. Doubling the heal, of course.
You saw it right at the beginning of the fight. They just Hanskin threw that up onto Limp as soon as he was starting to dive.
It's just it was such a long fight, and then when it ends, he just died immediately.
Wings with some good vision in the enemy jungle. They were trying to put pressure on that bottom tower, not knowing where Complexity were, though. They were sitting under the tree line. Close to that tier 1 tower, Z-Freak will start walking up, and now Swindles is going to be spotted out by Ice. He's got a ward. They're going to drop down the ultimate from the Undying, interestingly enough.
Most casual ulti
He just
ever.
ultis and walks through the mid lane.
Maybe he just likes the way he looks now.
I guess. Damage amp, whatever. Who knows?
Well, not really a big cooldown to worry about.
No.
So farming continues. Wisp is just protecting a Tiny. Can't really gank him, even though Z-Freak is hanging around bottom with level 6. I don't think they can ever kill Tiny here.
Top rune spot, Ice will find the bounty rune, but no contention coming out from Limp. I mean, if both teams decide to farm and just wait for a little while, who do you think this favors at this point in time?
I think it favors Wings. Complexity are the ones who need to make stuff happen. That's why they're gonna go bottom, trying. TPing in everyone here, but
I don't think they could chase. They had the Lone Druid on pursuit, couldn't find any tangle. Z-Freak wasn't there with the Rolling Boulder. Chessie was very low, but he gets earned up. And Complexity are going to play as 5 now and push into this tier 2 tower. While this is happening, you do have the split push coming out from the Alchemist in the top lane, who now has a Solar Crest, by the way.
Yeah, I love that build. It's really, really strong for fighting, and he's going to farm just fine with it as well. Doesn't have to go for an early Radiance.
Exorcism is up, so if they want to push this, they can. It is only level 1 as level 10 for Limp currently in this game. They have Black Hole ready to go for Swindles. His first going with the Black Hole wasn't spectacular, looking for maybe a better initiation next time around, but I think they do have the mech on him this time.
That Solar Crest on the bear actually makes the tier 2 tower hit so hard against it. Had to run away immediately.
They'll use their scan to see that Complexity are backing off, so Wings do have a pretty good understanding that they are still there. In fact, the scan's still going, so they know they're staying around, so Wings won't go too much further away from this tier 2 tower bottom lane.
Just smart play by Wings now, sending the Wisp and Tiny top instead of having the Alchemist there. Much easier to bring them in, and Tiny's going for the Echo Saber.
Yep.
Gonna be a really strong item.
I feel like that's just... So many people kind of question that item on Tiny. It's kind of still iffy, I think, for a lot of pros. What do you think about the Echo Saber on Tiny?
No, I think it's great. Oh, we see
good boulder smash. Rolling boulder in. They get off the Veil as well. The Chemical Rage is there. The Magnetize on top of Veil. Ice pops the Flesh Golem as well as Tombstone. Faith Beyond getting destroyed by that Magnetize. They will bring him down. Shadow is going to work, though. He is finally in with the Relocate as well. The Exorcism chewing him down. The Spirit Siphon Shadow. Tethered up, relocated out. Nicely done coming out from Wings to keep him alive.
That was a big one team fight for Complexity, though, and they still have Black Hole. They just use the threat of the Black Hole, and that's what you really want to have happen when you draft like this, because now you can keep going. Go for next tower.
And they get the tower on top of it, so the tier 2 does end up falling to Limp.
It was a little bit of a disjointed kind of fight for Wings. They went on the Enigma with Tiny, but you don't really kill a mech Enigma on your own. You get your combo off, but until you have Echo Saber, maybe then with a double punch you can kill him. But
and there's that Ags coming out for the Alchemist. So it is the Armlet first, followed by the Solar Crest. You mentioned, okay, I don't want the Alch to get, you know, Ags right off the bat or super early, but do you think this is the right timing for him?
I think it's a good timing, because now you can start looking towards Tiny to carry you when you have Echo Saber coming up and Wisp tethering him up. You can create a monster. If he goes Moonshard after this, or just a damage item even, as he has the Echo Saber, it's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a point where Wings might not be having the best time in terms of fights, initiations, but a couple minutes from now, they're going to be pretty big. I mean, this is just the power of the Alchemist. You accelerate so quickly at 20 minutes into the game, so...
And he's just reading the game correctly here, pushing bottom really hard, where Complexity are kind of locked in that they need to go as 5. Their draft is built around it, you don't have the best heroes to deal with split push, and Alchemist is getting a lot done down here.
And the Nyx Assassin will have the Blink Dagger pretty soon as well, so they'll have a lot more counter initiation from Wings' side. So Complexity, like you said, they're trying to 5-man. That is just the essence of their not only lineup, but just who they are as a team in general. But they're going to wrap around now.
Beyond on him.
Yeah, they're going to Rolling Boulder in. He's got Spike Carapace, can't get it off. Silence stuff. They're going to use the Fortune's End, and here comes Lim. Pops up the Spirit Siphon. Spike Carapace will go, but I don't think he stays alive. They should have detected him. They pop the Sentry and the Dust War, but now Shadow relocating in. Gets one instantly. See you later, Z-Free. Getting chased down his innocence, though. Will not relocate out in time. The raindrop almost keeps him up and ready, but Shadow does have to TP away. It is a 2-for-1 exchange. You have the Nyx Assassin, the offlaner, and the support going down for Wings for just one support for Complexity.
I feel that Shadow kind of sold out his Wisp there, because he blinked away from him, broke the tether, and then Death Prophet was like, oh, Wisp, are you all alone? No boots on Wisp? You just die there.
Shadow said, you're on your own right now, my friend. I'm out of here. He just blinked up to the high ground, TP'd out, and here we go. More 5-man from Complexity. Just they want to take these towers, and they're about to get the second to last outer tower of the game. That tier 2 mid will end up falling. This isn't necessarily an all-in type of strategy from Complexity, but they are getting so many towers out of this that it's working pretty damn well.
They are, and Death Prophet is scaling really well with the item progression right now. Has a lot of HP, has good armor.
Ooh.
Going for the steal on the stack here.
And they might get this. You can see already Wings are rotating in. They've decided to get to that tier 3 tower. I think they might have smoked up as well. They're looking to contest this. This is not falling that quickly. Complexity will lose their exorcism by the time they get there. Shadow's going to be coming out. They have the smoke. It's now topped, and they're going to jump in. Avalanche toss. Chessie in trouble. Great Falls promised, though. Swindle's in trouble. Spike Carriers will come out. They get the Undying at the very least. Limp will stay alive for the mech, but only for the time being. Now Shadow entangled up. They get off the black hole, but it's only onto one. Boulder Smash down. They'll kill Shadow. Dead for 45. So far, it's 2 for 2, but now Blink's going to work, and Swindle will get impaled up. It looks like it might be a 3 for 2 in favor of Wings. They get the triple kill for Blink as well. What a fight from Wings, and now they'll turn their attention possibly to Roche, maybe just down the bottom and to keep that wave pushed in.
Solar Crest is just so amazing in these early fights. I really love the way they itemize the Alchemist here. It really helps so much in these early team fights. And Tiny does go down, but in the end he did pick up his Eagle Song, so he's gonna go for
the butterfly.
The butterfly first again, as they've done before.
That's another classic item that they picked up a lot on that particular hero. But so that's a really good fight for Wings. The problem with that fight for Complexity is that the Exorcism was going, but it was going to run out by the time the fight really just started. And yeah, they killed, I think, Shadow in the beginning, but the Alchemist is starting to get to that point. And like you said, with the Solar Crest, we'll just chew through a lot of these heroes.
There's just a lot of heroes that Nyx can stun whenever he wants to, and that's a big issue. The Earth Spirit is going to be stunned. As long as he doesn't silence the Nyx, he can be stunned anytime because of the ulti, the AoE spells. The Midnight Pulse is going to be a target for Nyx as well, so he can stun off the Enigma until he has BKB. And then Death Prophet, same thing there. So it's a great pick. I love the Nyx in this game.
Yeah, the Nyx Assassin didn't have a great start, but was able to find a lot of good impales and spike carapaces. As we progress through the game, Complexity are completely unaware to the play that Wings are making. They're in the Roche, and they're about to take it down here completely. And they have the Solar Crest. It's taking a little bit longer than they might like, but they will get the Aegis. They'll probably give it up to Shadow as he has the open spot here, and that will be the Aegis going to them.
And now trying to go for a tier 2 top push. A little bit risky going into an Aegis here. Could work out for them maybe, but it would be a good timing since the Tiny won't have his butterfly yet. But I still think that Wings are going for this fight.
Exorcism is up for Complexity. They don't have their black hole, so their big team fight ultimate not quite there, but Exorcism should do the job. They have the rest of their abilities ready to go. Limp is looking to walk and wrap from behind here. They have great vision coming out. They know exactly where Wings are at this point. Innocence might get caught first, but Limp is going to be scouted by the Siege Creep. He gets the silence off, but they just can't chase him down. Now Faith Beyond will walk through. He's Vendetta'd up. They don't have any detection on the ground here, and it looks like Complexity will back away. And Shadow will just go to work on the tier 1 tower mid.
Just ignoring them, going for the push instead. Alchemist pushing bottom, and he's getting a lot of money. Again, he has almost 4,000 gold now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a slow start for Wings, but they have transitioned into a very hefty mid game at this point with 21 minutes in. 14,000 net worth for the Tiny, 11,000 for the Alchemist. But they do have the Lone Druid. He has his Radiance up. Any other items ready to go for the Lone Druid just yet?
They need to play towards this. He doesn't have his face boots on the bear, which I feel a little bit sad about.
I like the push from Complexity. They'll go to the high ground. Looks like Tombstone has been dropped down. The Boulder Smash will narrowly miss 2. They get the silence up on the Ice. Limp's walking up. They really want this Tombstone, and they should find it with the last right click. Uncivil Decoction. Limp will take some damage, but here comes Shadow. Avalanche onto a lot. They get the toss on his V-Freak. They get the False Promise off, and they need to keep him alive. Silence on the Shadow, but he has that Aegis, remember. He will have 2 lives. Blink walking up has to pop the BKB. Magnetize. They'll lose 1. They try to get the relocate out. Did not work for Wings. And it looks like they will lose the Aegis, but that is it for now. Exorcism is about to end, and Wings won't lose anything other than the Aegis for the Tiny on Shadow.
Complexity should just be happy with that fight and back off. Even if they don't get an objective in the end, they got the Aegis gone, so now when they have the cooldown ready, they can go for a fight again. Just 100 seconds until they can fight. And BKB, of course, used in that fight on the Alchemist, his next pickup. So just a fighting build completely, not going for any farm consuming. And I think that's a great choice. If he went Radiance, he would take too much farm away from the Tiny himself.
Yeah, they're splitting up the map very well. Those are the top 2 cores, as we've mentioned, for Wings. One problem I do have for Wings' lineup is I feel like this Undying is just not contributing anything at this point in time, Wago.
He doesn't have to do that much. He's forcing people to fight the Tombstone, and that makes them go into weird positions where Nyx and Tiny can really capitalize on that and kill them. So I think he does what any Undying does in normal games, and later on, I mean, into a late game, he's gonna scale pretty well just because of his ulti. As long as he stays alive, his ulti is gonna do great work.
That's the problem. He gets pretty squishy later on down the road, even with Flesh Golem, which will help out. But I mean,
That's true.
At this point right now, Wings are just farming up these 2 particular cores. They did pick up, I believe, the Bloodstone for Limp on the Death Prophet. What do you think about that? I thought that might have been an Octarine, but it was a little bit early for it.
I thought it was gonna be Octarine as well. I don't love their Bloodstone potential. They don't get that many kills the way the game is going. Oh, chasing down here.
They need an Entangle proc from Chessie. Toss from the bear, onto the bear rather, back onto Chessie himself. They are still looking to run them down. Relocate from Innocence. Savage Roar, it's just not in time. It was close from Chessie. Good try there.
Can he get the TP? Wisp. Let's see if he can TP to base right when 3 he should do it. No.
No, he's not going for it.
He's not even trying. He gave up on life.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not tethering.
All right, dude.
See you guys later.
It's 50 gold. Do it.
And a wasted TP, though, if he misses it, though.
I mean, that's not a thing on Wisp. It doesn't matter. You TP there.
Blink Dagger for the Alchemist. Faith Beyond as a Nyx Assassin. Split pushes down the tier 2 tower. Limp has his Exorcism back up. It is still level 2, and they will go for the push. The Black Hole is ready to go. This tier 3 tower, it's taken some damage, and it might even go down here as the Exorcism is popped by Limp. And they'll buy back on the IO as well. Good glyph coming out, making sure that tier 3 tower is alive.
Going behind the enemy here. Wings.
They'll go for the wraparound gank. Here comes the Alchemist on Zibble Concoction. Straight impale onto 2. Now the Black Hole comes out, gets canceled immediately by the Spike Carapace. Chessie getting low. Zefrig having to back as well. Everybody from Complexity getting obliterated. Swindles will try to TP. They got the racks though. The melee racks is gone. Limp is going to work. He's going to get Shadow. The tether will not be there in time. And Innocence cannot save his comrades. With all of that happening, with 4 down for Complexity, they still get Limp. And he gets that melee racks in the process.
Yeah, that's the consolation kill on the Tiny, I guess. And the racks kinda makes it worth it. Complexity have to go for these pushes. Just get some damage done, and you can really say how terrible it is to play Enigma against a Nyx.
Yeah, that's just been the biggest issue.
It's just really hard. He needs to go for BKB as soon as possible. He went drums into, or mech into drums. I think he should probably just have rushed the BKB. He needs to get ASAP.
He has 1600, so he's not super far off of the BKB if the game continues to progress the way it has, especially if they get another Rax like the range Rax top lane. But
I don't like that Faith Beyond is actually going for his own Aghanims here. He could have gone for like Force Staff or something else on the Nyx. He's gonna get an Aghanim sooner or later by this Alchemist, but I guess he just wants to have it that much sooner. But
he wants to be involved, especially with the high ground defense. I think Burrow is very, very critical for Wings. even at this stage in the game.
Oh, for sure. I just feel there could be better items for him to invest into instead. Since the Alchemist is already gear capping really quickly, like he has 6 items right now. So could easily have passed an Aghanim.
Vendetta impales Z-Freak, good blink out, relocate in, Fate's Edict, and they're going to go for the Avalanche Toss combo. It's just completely blocked by the Fate's Edict. Exorcism, they will lose Innocence. They're about to lose Shadow as well. He's going to be able to get forced away. Might stay alive. Hansk's getting chopped down though by the Maelstrom. Tombstone will finally go down. Fate's Beyond, Magnetize, Exorcism. They've got Z-Freak a double kill, but look at Blink going to work. Limp is now kind of just doing work on his own here. Jesse's going to come through and they're looking for it to tangle. Unstable Concoction will go. He wants Limp, but he might end falling. They get off the sword. The Crypt Sword comes through. The Impale. Limp's still alive, but will finally get the kill on the next assassin. Ice Ice will fall as well. A double kill for Limp.
Complexity.
They just get wiped, and Complexity will go straight down mid right now. Somehow Limp surviving through it all.
That was a crazy turnaround. There's a long death time on the Alchemist. No buyback for him. Tiny's gonna buy back, trying to deter the enemy, but Complexity are not going anywhere. They're coming for this push.
Good news is there's no Exorcism. Bad news is that there is, of course, a Lone Druid with Demolish. They can take this down rather quickly. No creep wave, though, so it'll take a little bit longer than maybe they thought it would. But still, Wings, they lose 5 heroes. They're forced to buy back on Shadow. They might look for a Blink initiation. They really don't want to give away a free Rax at this point, but Complexity are in a good spot. Shadow walking up.
He has to be so careful.
Silence
He used
onto
his
2.
buyback.
And they're going to lose this melee Rax. They just can't defend it. Chessie's demolished from the bear is too strong. TP's going to be coming in. That'll be from the Undying. They have the Savage Roar, and Chessie says, get out of here. They'll be able to get out together. Complexity will not lose anything at this point, Waga.
Beautiful play by Complexity, and now they're in a really great spot. They've opened up the enemy base a lot. There's no tier 2 tower on bottom as well. So just next Roshan is going to be what they need to play around. And they have Enigma. That's a great hero to fight the Roche pit.
Yeah, and look at that net worth graph as well. It's swinging all the way back up to even. 2,500 in favor of Wings, but not much more. And so that was just a heck of a fight from Complexity. Limp just stays alive throughout the entire engagement.
That turned dark so quickly for Wings. It looked really great. The Alchemist was doing good work on everyone. But then he just stood next to a Lone Druid, got rooted, and took so much physical damage. He thought he would be fine in the BKB, but it did not save him from
Did not help him there. Absolutely correct in that. And so Complexity, they still have a lot of work to do. They've gotten a couple of melee Rax's. Wings, they're not out of this yet, though. There's a lot of this game left. There's an Alchemist in it. There is a Tiny. So late game potential, you talk about an IO Tiny and split push and Rat. We have seen it in so many Dota games, Waga.
Oh, yes. You could always win. As long as you have Wisp Tiny, you can always win the game in Dota. That's the way it goes. And they can deal with big creeps easily. So this game is definitely not over. But Complexity now in a pretty sweet spot.
Yeah, they are in a very
Looking
good spot.
at farm, we have 800 gold until Swindles completes his BKB. I think that's going to be the real big timing for Complexity to start going.
Yeah, then they have pretty much nothing, or nothing in fact, to be able to cancel that black hole when he has that BKB going. Spike carry pace be damned.
There's only one way, and that's if Enigma casts the black hole kind of far away from him, he can be tossed away even if he has BKB on. But, you know, most likely the Tiny cannot toss him.
Unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
But for Swindles, yeah, he just needs to farm that BKB up. Roche is available, by the way, for both teams if they want to go for it. You have the Solar Crest. Wings will scout it out currently. They'll send in the Nyx Assassin, who did pick up the Aghanim Scepter, so he has Burrow now ready to go.
That's going to be a pretty good thing as well in terms of just chain stunning. If they ever get a good initiation with Tiny or Alchemist, he can follow up with Impale, then blink in, Burrow, stun them again. So they have some good tools. Trying to push top. Have to be careful about fighting Complexity here.
Shadow not only flutters away, but blinks as well. He says, I do not want to get caught. That's the last thing I want to do, especially when I just fought back too.
Yeah, and there we see it. The full BKB is completed before the Roshan fights occurs. So now all Complexity need to do, get top pushed out with a Radiance Bear and head towards Roche.
Complexity looks like...
As for Wings though, this Alchemist, he hits really hard with the Mjolnir that he has.
Complexity were smoked up. They were scanned at the tail end of it, so Wings know that they're in that mid lane vicinity. So Complexity need to be careful with how they walk up. Or Wings are just going to back up and maybe just give Roche away to Limp and Complexity. Although Faith Beyond is nearby. Do they have a gem up ready to go? They do. Z-Freak has one, so if he walks a little too close, they will be able to spot him out, but Z-Freak's already on the high ground now. They're looking for a pick. They won't find anything, though. Not yet, anyway, for Complexity.
Yeah, they have a ward in the enemy base, so they saw them walking around, trying to find a way to pick up the Alchemist here, but Smoke not going to end up finding anything. They're just going for the push. They say, screw Roshan. We don't want to take that fight. Let's go for base.
And Faith Beyond is just walking back at this point, still invised up. They're going to pop the Exorcism for Complexity. They want to get this over with. They have the BKB for Swindles. They have Black Hole. And they'll pop the unstable concoction. Blinken, they're looking for the stun onto 2, including the Bear. Z-Freak stays alive with the mech coming out. Swindle pops the BKB. Black hole onto 2. Can they get the damage? They have some boulder smash, geomagnetic grip with the magnetize, but they get the relocate out still though. Blink will fall, dead for 70. Limp gets a triple kill. They are not done yet. They're running them down. Wings are in trouble.
Complexity have done it. They killed them.
They're
both dead.
They have the 2 big cores out of the game. FaZe Beyond will try his best with the Impale, but for now it looks like Complexity will take at least a set of racks bottom. Maybe the game as well. They get off the boulder smash, the geomagnetic grip comes out the fortress, then they're just going to go right to him with Jesse. And they really just want these buildings at this point. Still no exorcism, but they're about to get a good double Impale coming through, but Limp and Z-Freak going to work on that melee racks.
All of the melee racks are gone now. Just top racks, range racks to go for after this one as well. And Londra is already there. This is going to be Megas.
They're going to get Megas at 31 minutes into the game against a Tiny and Alchemist. Complexity are about to take this game and eliminate Wings from the entire tournament. Manila Major, of course. Wings will be done. They are done now in the Manila Major. Complexity will move on to the best of 3 series. What a play for Complexity. What a draft. What a mid-game from them as well.
Yeah, just props to Complexity. They played really, really solid. They had some shaky performance in the early stage there, but they got so much farm and translated it really well. And they took down a team that a lot of people had pinned as their top 4 favorites. In fact, going down in the bottom 4.
Wings out of the tournament already, a team that was here not too long ago and having a great performance, but Complexity showing they are